Nice to see you all here this morning. We've got a couple of things going on today. It was great to see you yesterday at the farmers market outside our job. The CSA brought us a beautiful, beautiful veggie bag and fruits and things like that. So today what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a couple of things. I'm going to start off with the tilapia, and we're going to actually do a fish. You can actually use any kind of fish. I have tilapia, okay? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in a crusted almond. So what you do with this, I put a little bit of lemon. I always wash my fish in lemon, but I just put a little bit of extra because I really like the taste of lemon. And I'm going to quickly powder it with a little bit of flour. Then I'm going to dip it in a little egg wash. It's egg wash with a little bit of water. You don't use milk, right? And then I'm going to breadcrumb it with the almonds. So I put the almonds in the blender, get whole almonds and blend them. Okay, and then I'll just show you another one quickly to do the last one so we can finish with it. We're going to put it in a baking sheet. It takes around like 15 minutes in a 350 oven. You see I put salt and pepper.
In the flour, right?
Yep, salt and pepper, and a little bit in the flour, actually a little bit on the fish I did. Then I kind of was a little low in almonds, but you get the idea. Try and get many on as possible. All right, and that's your crusted almond. But I'm just going to wash my hands before we go on to the next. Okay, so just look at that.
So this is the almonds come instead of the breadcrumbs,
Exactly.
which is a great alternative and going to make them nice and crunchy once they're baked. But see, and then it's just a little bit of egg wash, a little bit of flour. If you have whole wheat flour, great, even better, because we like whole whenever it's ahead of something.
Okay, so these have come out the oven. Okay, these are already cooked. This is what they come out like. And I actually made it because we got cow in our bags yesterday, and I made a garlic and lemon cow. So that'd be with a fish.
How long did you have them in the oven?
15, 20 minutes. Actually, I think it was less than that. It took about 15 minutes.
Yeah, it cooks really fast.
And they're fully cooked. Yeah, and it, you know it's cooked when the fish falls apart very easy. So if I sort of like picked up in the middle, it would fall apart very easy, so you can see that it's cooked. Now, one thing that the ladies got yesterday is they got a lot of cabbage and potatoes in their bag. And I wanted to show them something. This is actually a dish that's usually done in England. It's like with leftovers. So I'm going to go over to the stove and just show you what I've done. This is called bubble and squeak. Everyone's going to say, what is that? Bubble and squeak. So it's just, you use a touch of oil in your pan. Okay, and then you're going to add some slivered onions. Now, if you cooked the cabbage, them cabbages were actually huge yesterday. So if you cook your cabbage and you have like leftovers, this is a really good idea to make. All right, so we're going to quickly saute these up a little bit. Give them a second. As you can hear the sizzle. And we're going to add our leftover steamed cabbage. Obviously, I prepared this morning, but it's just a different idea that you can have. And then you add over your potatoes. You can leave the skins on. I peeled mine yesterday. You got some red potatoes. I peeled them. I'm just going to add the potatoes in here. Come off a little bit. Right. So that's your bubble and squeak. Let me get a spoon. Take that off. Okay. So you're going to fry that up. Now this takes about several minutes, but at the end of it, it comes out like this. So you can see the crust with your onions and your cabbage.
So great.
It really is. Oh, and just add a little bit of salt and pepper. Let me just add a crack of salt and pepper to this.
So do you have to steam the cabbage? Can you do it raw?
No, I steamed the cabbage because it's like it's really like a leftover thing. If if someone's going to have cabbage the night before, like a vegetable with their, it's something that's good for the next day. You can just stick it back in the pan. It takes literally 2 minutes. But this has been steamed this morning just to show you this particular dish. I pretended it was leftovers. Okay, so, and there's your outcome. All right, so I'm going to go back over here. Okay, so the water of the week this week is cucumber and raspberry. Okay, it's really important to keep hydrated always. As you see, we've got some nice raspberry and water. It really does make you feel better when you drink plenty of fluids. Otherwise, you feel tired and all that. I'll pass you on to JP. Have a good day.
Thank you. That looks really good. I'm going to do it even though I don't have leftovers. I'll make them from scratch. It doesn't matter. Hi, everyone. It's good to see you all. Okay, so after that beautiful like tilapia almondine, like it's inspired on like a French dish because it looks like that. So we're gonna do today, it's also like a nice entree that I make sometimes for guests that it's really good, and it's gonna be with mushrooms, portobello mushrooms, which we haven't used here much. So I'm gonna show you first how to clean them. These are gonna be baked, but has that really nice flavorful stuffing in it. So I'm gonna show you a little bit how it goes. First, I'm gonna see the ingredients that we have. So these are our portobellos. I wash them underwater, just rub them a little bit, and then this is the inside part. These are beautiful, like really fresh. You see those beautiful gills. If you're buying them, the gills should be nice and formed, not like with dark or mushy spots. That's how you should find them. So just like that. We're gonna have some peppers in it, a little bit of an onion. We're gonna have some walnuts. We're gonna put in this stuffing, and we're gonna do, these are beautiful lentils. These are already cooked. These are what they call beluga or caviar lentils. It's just like a black lentil, but you could do it with brown lentil, with green lentil, doesn't matter. And then some, talk about leftovers, some little bit of like brown rice that's been cooked. So that's gonna be our stuffing. But first I'm gonna show you how to clean our mushrooms. So you're gonna grab a spoon, have your bowl, and in this, you're gonna scrape it. So this little part, this is an extra. You're gonna take it out. You're gonna scrape it. These are the black little parts are called gills. So you do wanna remove them. That not only is gonna give us more space for our stuffing, but also sometimes they have a little bit of, some dirt in it. So it's good to remove them. Just lightly scraping with a spoon, nothing more. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you can see, just like that. So you see how now you have like your little empty vessel. So you're gonna preheat your oven to about 300, 350. And then what we're gonna do, we'll do the other one. Oh, if you have a big stem in the middle, you can remove it. It's actually better. The stem is gonna be a little bit harsh or like a little bit too tough. So I tend to remove them, and just with your finger like that. So see, you go like that again, scoop it. We won't use the gills, just like that. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is, I'm gonna show you here in my baking sheet. So just gonna go and lightly season it, a little bit of salt, kosher salt. Oh, let me remove this gill here. This is a big one. There you go. And then a little bit of pepper. So what we're gonna do is actually, I just put them like that, and then I'm gonna flip them. And just like that, I'm gonna put them in the oven, okay? So I'm gonna put them in the oven for like, not a long time, for like a few minutes. Maybe 15 minutes, you'll definitely smell them. And so now we're gonna do the stuffing. So for the stuffing, really easy. As I mentioned, I'm going to turn my pan on. I'm going to put just a little bit of olive oil. And then, so what I have is a combination of peppers. So I'll start with this green one, dice. And just as I slice, I go and I put it in my pan. So I like a combination. If you only have like one type, that's fine. This I'm gonna do this a little bit yellow, a little bit of the green, and I also am gonna have a little bit of a red one just to make it 3 colors. So you've seen how we peel pepper, but we'll go over it again. Cut the top and the bottom, we can use this later, and you just slice on the side and get your little pepper strip. And you can remove all the seeds in one go. If you got a little few seeds, that's okay. Just move them. Then I'll do another little strips. If you want a little bit of spice, you can have a jalapeno. You can just chop a jalapeno and put it in our pan. Nothing wrong with that. So in goes here you can see all the beautiful peppers in, and you can hear the sizzle. Now I'm gonna cut the onion. I'm just using half an onion, not, because it already has a lot of, between all the different colored peppers. You don't need a lot of it. Go like that. And slice them. We're also going to season that. At the end, this will end. I chop all of it. No need to waste anything. So in goes to my pan. You can hear a very nice sizzle. Grab wooden spoon. And I'm going to season it with a little pinch of salt and a little bit of pepper. This is what you want. If you want different flavors or seasonings, you can add here. I've done it with like different kinds of, like even with cumin, I've sometimes used. The other thing is I also gonna have a little bit of any herbs you have, you can use. I have some fresh thyme. Remember this one, you just go like that, remove the little seeds, the stem. I love putting thyme in here because you put it in the oven, you bake it, and you're gonna get really fragrant. Even it starts getting fragrant as you add it into your stuffing.
Got thyme in their bag yesterday, so this is like a perfect.
Oh, they did? Great.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
It's really good. I like it. I like it really flavorful.
Rosemary,
it's very typical of this season. Rosemary and thyme. I think, a couple of weeks ago we used rosemary, so now we'll do thyme. If you have parsley instead, use parsley. That's also great. Also, you can use this one at the end. You can use it a little bit of parsley. So this one doesn't require, not like rosemary that's a little more woody. This one, if it's fresh, it's really soft. So you can do just a couple of passes and go ahead and we'll put it in our Okay, so here we go. Trying to get them, you only need to get them slightly soft, not getting fragrant with a. Next thing is we're gonna put the lentils. So these are already cooked. Remember, it's already cooked. So just add, it depends how many you are. We're only having 2 here. I already did a couple, but just like maybe 3 tablespoons. And you're gonna let it get all the flavor in. And then our brown rice, which has already been cooked. Just also like a couple of this. If you have any leftovers of this stuffing and you don't have enough mushrooms, that's okay. You could eat that stuffing as is. Imagine it's like a souped up rice and beans, but with lentils, which nothing wrong with that. So make it nice and warm. So what I'm going to show you now is actually a little trick I wrote. I already did some of the mushrooms in the oven. So this is how they come out. So see, if you see they're like much softer. They still have like a texture to them. And that's the only thing. See how on this side is they're a little more wrinkly. That's okay. So that's how you're going to do them. Put them in there. And then once you can taste a little bit of the stuffing, so it's good. Remember, we already seasoned these, so they don't really need a lot of extra seasoning now. Oh, and then before I forget, so we have some walnuts. This is just, I chopped them, so a little bit chopped. It's just like a little handful. We're gonna maybe like that, depending on the amount you're doing. Put them in your pan. So remember, and I'll mention this now. So using nuts and seeds is a great alternative in terms of nutrition. There's one important type of, they call it essential fat or essential oil. And I think maybe you've heard it before. It's called omega-3 fatty acids. There's actually 2, omega-6 and omega-3. You don't need to worry about omega-6 because basically it's everywhere. If you buy something out, you go to a restaurant, if there's something fried, you have a lot of that. Also, there's a lot of meat products, or processed stuff. But the omega-3s are really important, and they also need it in your diet. So see how we're getting toasted. So these walnuts are rich in that. Also, some fish is also rich in that. Light fish has high levels of these omega. You probably heard about fish oils and stuff that people like take in capsules. As always, unless a doctor is prescribing you that, I don't recommend you. I recommend you to have it from a real source. So here we go with that mushroom. So our stuffing is ready. So then you can let it cool lightly, or if you're gonna serve it soon, you can just go ahead. So now you can even pat down a little bit. If it's cool, you can pat them with your hand a little bit, but make sure it's a little bit hot, but you can let it cool. You can do this ahead of time if you have people over, and then have them just like that at this point, and then you're gonna bake them back in the oven at 350. But this is just, everything is cooked already here, so you don't really need to, other than to heat it up slightly, and then you'll just put it in your baking tray and then just serve it as is. Serve it with a knife and a fork. And so that's kind of like a version. I did another one that already came out of the oven like that. But basically, yeah, you look at this version, and then you can add a little bit more of, just for presentation, a little bit more thyme on the top. When you're ready to serve it with a fork and a knife, and you can cut away and have it. So it's going to be really hearty with like the nuts and the seeds. And also, by the way, I was saying these omega-3 fatty acids, just you should know, they are very good to reduce for heart disease, to reduce blood pressure and lowers inflammation. So people with high blood pressure or with atherosclerosis or plaque in the in the veins, the arteries. It's also good for eye vision and brain function too. So these omega oils either in fish or also in nut form, including chia seeds and flax seeds. Those two are really good sources of non-fishy omega-3 acids. So I hope you like this recipe and try it at home.
I have a question, JP. So you don't use the stalks of the mushroom?
Not the big stalks there for these ones. You could, depending on how fresh they are, if they're good like this, you could use a little bit of them. But
could you use them in the stuffing?
For these ones for the stuff. You could take them out, chop them, and then put them in the stuffing. That you could do, because that would cook them a little bit more. And also because I need to remove them to add more filling inside of the shell of the portobello. Yeah, and you don't have to do portobello for this one. You could do like nice white mushrooms, but as long as they're like big, so you can stuff them, and they can even be like little hors d'oeuvres, more that kind of main dish. Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect.
There's like, what's the best way to grind almonds for the fish?
I actually put them in the blender, but if you don't have a blender, that's okay. You can just put them in a Ziploc bag and smash them with a can. I mean, sometimes we have to do things, old-fashioned ways. Not all of us have like blenders. I happen to have a blender, but if you don't, it's fine. We always find a way.
Also, they're asking how to make sure your fish is crispy. With this almond crust, it'll be crispy no matter what.
Exactly. It's like actually really good. It's actually a very, very good crust, and it come out like perfect. And I just want to show you the crust that when we started the class. I'm going to flip the camera just so that everyone can see how the other bubble and squeak. You see, you get the crust. This is so good, and it's such a simple thing. Sometimes just going back to the basics, and it's so simple, and it tastes absolutely delicious. So if you do have leftovers from them big old, things that you had yesterday, that's a great one. I know you can do a coleslaw. There's a few things you can put, obviously, cabbage in a nice salad. If you have a chopped salad, you got some, I think, micrograin. They're called yesterday in their salad. Yeah, microgreens. And they're just chucked in the salad, and they're supposed to be so healthy for you. So please use it all up. It was, a beautiful bag, beets and lots of things. Next week is our last week for CSA.
Oh, wow. Yeah, use them all. Also, they're asking how long the mushrooms go in the oven. Once you stuff them like that, I would say if they're really all cooked, so I would do it at 350, maybe 10, 12 minutes. You see how you want them, but that's about it. What other nuts coating can you do instead of almonds for the fish? Almonds is really the best one because they're really hardy. And so there's one thing you have to be careful in doing coatings with nuts. And it's because they can toast really quick and burn. So you don't want to do that. Another one I think it's good that you can do is pecans. Pecans will be good as an alternative. Walnuts maybe also. Just make sure that, so there's a little bit of when you crush them, you can crush them, but it's not very regular. Some of them are big, but some of them are small. The small ones are going to be, any of the small nuts are going to be likely to burn. But this is a good system because in the oven, you can control it very well and just put it in and put it out if you see that they're starting to burn.
Best way to wash a mushroom so it's clean. You actually wash yours. I actually use a damp paper towel and wipe them. Yes. I'll let you do that one.
There is a debate. There's always been a debate. Some people say never wash a mushroom. And I'll tell you the reason why. The reason why mushrooms are like sponges. So they absorb anything you're putting, any liquid you're putting in them. So, and if you see like what we did by sweating the mushroom first in the oven is to concentrate its flavor. So you don't want to dilute it. So that's why a lot of chefs don't wash them, and they get like Sam does with like a little wet paper towel, and they rub them all around. However, they grow in the sand, and some of the times part of them, they're actually grown in manure, because that's part of how the mushrooms grow. So you do need to, cook them, because that'll help a lot, but I do prefer washing them. But I put a bowl, fill it with water, and like put them in, I shake them really well with my hands and then remove them right away, usually with like, have you ever seen actually like this, like a salad spinner? I do
Yeah.
this. I fill this with water. Yeah, the salad spinner. Put the mushrooms here, dunk them in the water, shake them really well, and then take it out and then spin them several times. That's how any kind of mushroom, it's probably the best I recommend to do it. And then if they're too wet, you could pat dry them with paper towel, and then continue with the recipe.
Okay, someone just asked about cashews on the fridge, on the fish. I'm sorry, cashews on the fridge.
Yeah, they work. They would work too. They're slightly higher on their fat content, cashews. So you have to be a little bit more careful than with almonds, for example. But yes, they are. They should be good as a coating, as a breadcrumb.
But not salted ones. But not salted cashews. I'm just letting them know they should be using salted cashews. Like let's keep it to the plain cashews, no salt.
Yeah, in general, every time you buy nuts, try to buy them unsalted. If you have the option of unsalted, notice a lot of the times when nuts can go stale relatively soon, but salt will mask that flavor, that stale kind of. So adding the salt will mask it, so you wouldn't even be able to tell very well if they're going rancid. So always buy them unsalted, and also I keep them in the freezer. And then as I need them, I take them out. They just will last longer.
Okay. And someone said, do the mushrooms have pesticides on them?
They are not as much needed for pesticides because they really grow a lot naturally, under good conditions. And actually, they make them in caves and things like that. So it's not necessarily, but as always, if it's not organic, there might be pesticide residue in it. So yes. But that's the case in almost in everything in produce. So they can have them. But I have to say, mushrooms are really nutritious too. They have a lot of antioxidants. They say a lot of them are good sources to try to reduce the risk of cancer, for example. Either dried mushrooms, fresh mushrooms, any kind of mushroom. So I still recommend, even if they may not necessarily be organic, you still use them regularly. Also, they're very high in vitamin D.
Great, that was good. Thanks, JP. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.